Alafia, Ibe. Good health to you, family. Thank you so much for tuning in. Adupe, Yoruba, thank you. I am yours truly. I am Amar Mari. I am the founder of El Kebalan Unity Alliance, where we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. Additionally, the knowledge of self. My queen, Amani Amari, is the co-founder, and we thank everyone so much. The testimonies are so encouraging. This is the reason why I do what I do. I do it because I'm led to do it. I believe that Agungun, the ancestors, is leading me to do what I'm doing. My mind has been transformed. I have went from a religiosity, my queen and I, to spirituality. The root word in spirituality is spirit. So we focus on the psyche, your mind, the spirit, your soul. We fully understand that you live the way that you think. Your mindset is what controls your perception in life of yourself and about life in general. If you don't know, I am a former bishop. I was in the ministry roughly around a total of 18 to 19 years. And in my research and my searching, I have come to find that the only way for us as a people to be free is by us returning to the knowledge and the wisdom of our ancestors. And one of the prayers to Agungun, we pray to Agungun, teach us the lessons that we shall learn. Teach us about you so that we may know about ourselves. When you trace your DNA, you come to find out who you are related to. It encompasses your culture, and your culture is a way of life. On today, the mastermind session is in session. Spiritual growth, session number 9. We are out of our minds. And I'm going to talk to you today about that. Some people say that in the negative sense, saying that a person is not mentally stable when they say they are out of their mind. And that's what's actually happening to a lot of us, is because we have been cut off from the ways of our ancestors. We've been cut off from our spirituality. We have not lost it. As I always say, you don't misplace your culture. We were forbidden. Our lives was threatened and even taken. And another culture's way was enforced upon us. Many of us, we reject our own culture due to what I foresaid. That is one of the root causes amongst the multiple causes about why we are in the state that we are in. Okay. I myself personally, I started to do research, and I came in the knowledge of what my DNA is. And I'm not just talking about ancestry DNA. I'm talking about literally through a family member telling me and me speaking to my elders, what is my bloodline? Where do we come from? Who are we? Once I personally found out, this is the reason why people see me dressed the way I dress. This is the reason why I dress in African attire, is because that's what I am. Okay. My bloodline personally goes back to Ghana, specifically the Akan people. We speak Twi. Okay. And we're Santi. I'm also Yoruba. All right. My ancestors, before they came to this continent, they married, they intermarried, okay, amongst other people, and our bloodline is Yoruba, and also it's Asante. Okay, we have family that also lives in the Congo and etc. Okay, this is via my research, me finding out who we are. And so with that being said, I come to find my actual right mind. And what has happened to us is we've been injected with someone else's culture. It's like a virus. Okay, it has corrupted us. It has severed us from our right mind. And this is the reason why a lot of us are not mentally stable, is because we have subscribed to the thought process of another culture. We must understand that their way of life is fit for them. Our way of life is fit for us. Okay? And it's like putting on a cap, and it's a fitted cap, right? And that cap won't fit if it's not the right size. It won't go on your head if it's not the right size, because the sizing is not right. Okay? This is the reason why the other culture's mindset does not fit us right. It's because it is not our way of life. Okay? When we have been cut off from our culture, it cut us off from our way of thinking. It cut us off from our morals, because with culture comes teachings. Okay? Also, with culture, you have initiation to manhood, initiation to womanhood. You have an interaction of how you're supposed to conduct yourself when you're dealing with your elders and your elder brothers. All right? And so culture encompasses all these things. Culture entails music. Okay? Culture entails dance. Culture entails your food. All right? Culture influences the way that you socialize with one another. Culture is gigantic. It is not minuscule like people try to make it be. People condense it like there's nothing to it, and it's not a big deal that we're not following after the ways of our ancestors. But I argue that if you look at how we conduct ourselves within the communities, what you have seen and what you're seeing is the absence of our culture. So what we're actually experiencing in our communities on a global scale is the aftermath of what happens when somebody such as ourselves are not in touch with who we actually are. The crises that we're having within our communities is deriving from us not following after the ways of our ancestors. Okay? Now, being injected with someone else's culture is a virus and is germinating. You see this is germinating on a global scale. You see that we don't have our names that actually match with who we are. Okay? You don't see us dressing according to our culture by all of those countries, even over in Africa, who has been colonized. Okay, you actually hear them with European names. Okay, they don't have the actual African name. Like, for instance, Thomas Sankara, Julius Nyerere. Okay, you know, the reason why they have those names is because they were colonized by the French. Okay, so you will see people that dress African but have a European mind. You see somebody that's European, somebody that has a African mind dressed like a European. So this is how you know that we are lost. Okay? When you hear men call women bitches, when you hear women calling each other bitches, when you hear men calling out women whores, when you hear women calling each other whores, and they embrace this title as though it's a badge of honor, this is what you see what happens when we lose our culture. It is a historical fact that the way that we conduct ourselves now, today, certainly isn't the way that we conducted ourselves when we were in our homeland. It is critical to the survival of our people that we reconnect with our spirituality. And when we do that, what we do is introduce ourselves to a way of life. With spirituality like Ifa, we learned about Uapele. All right? A Yoruba spiritual system. Ifa is the word of Olodumare. Olodumare is the creator. You see? So even in translation from Christianity to Ifa, you see the word of what they would say God, but we would say the word of Olodumare, the word of the creator. Ifa is the word, is the message. Like Orunmila is the one who helps to interpret the word of Ifa. Okay, the word of the creator, the word, all right? So what we see is fragmentations of our spirituality all compiled together in a book, right? Now, in this book, you have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit fell down on the people according to Acts chapter number 2. Okay, it says, and the Holy Spirit fell down and they began to speak with tongues. That is not a European doctrine. That is not European. That is not European in nature. Okay? Signs, wonders, and miracles, okay, and dealing with the supernatural realm, it stems from the motherland. These spiritual systems of magic is simply you connecting with nature, okay, and you flowing with the spiritual gifts, connecting with nature. Okay, that's all it really is. Okay, the healing, we have the Babaluas, we have the shamans in our culture that we went to and we sought out for advice. And the Babaluas would do the divination, would get a word from the spiritual realm and would tell us what they call as prophecy. We call it divination. The divination, the root word in divination is divine. So we get a word from the spiritual realm. And then we speak. In voodoo, they would say the Holy Spirit, they would call it the Holy Spirit, and then they would say, oh, he's speaking in tongues. Voodoo predates Christianity. So even the very things that they do when they say the Spirit falls on them and they began to dance, that is an African spiritual system. It comes from Africa. But unbeknownst to them, they don't understand when they reject Ifa, when they reject voodoo, when they reject Yoruba, they're actually rejecting themselves, and they don't even recognize that their own spiritual system has been dressed up in Christianity, because our ancestors, when they were enslaved, they would utilize the saints for Ifa. And they would use certain names and they would hide behind so that way they would be able to continue to practice their spirituality. When we were enslaved, we were taught that our spiritual system is wrong, and this is the reason why a lot of African people today, okay, African period, all right, not just of descent, because we are Africans, period, all right? The reason why today we reject our spiritual system is because of these Christian people coming into our country and forcing us into their way of life. And a lot of Africans today, all right, that reject their spiritual system and they call it evil according to what they read in a book. They don't understand that this is the reason why they do it, because they've been raised to believe that their spiritual system is wrong. Prior to us being colonized, we never looked at our way of life, because spirituality is a way of life. We never looked at our way of life as being wrong. With this type of teaching, what it has done is, it's like a virus. Okay? It is germinated on a global scale. This is why it's so important to get into history and to find out what happened. Okay? Don't believe what I'm telling you. Talk to an African that's not religious. Okay? Like my friend, Prince Adderley. Okay, who is a Yoruba prince from Nigeria. Okay, see, I don't talk to people, okay, who have been colonized. I don't talk to them because I understand that they don't understand that they've been brainwashed. They're not in their right mind. So they demonize their own spiritual systems because of what happened to our ancestors. And listen, that's only the ones who actually tapped out. Rather than them losing their life, they just gave in to the European and say, okay, we'll practice your systems. And they willfully gave up their spiritual system because they loved their life more than they loved themselves. They feared death. They didn't want to die. So what would happen is they would go into our villages and they would make spectacles of our people, and they would use them as an example and say, if you don't bow down, just like in that same book that they read called the Bible, with Nebuchadnezzar, okay, when he told Daniel in the story and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, if you don't bow down, we're going to kill you, okay? And the same thing happens to our people today. Those of us who don't stand up and salute the American flag, and those of us who don't stand up during this national anthem, because we recognize the injustices that happen to our people. So because we don't submit ourselves, we're persecuted. Because we don't allow them to continue to brainwash us, we're persecuted. And then our own people don't even understand that when they fight us, and they call us devils, and they label us, and they call us wicked, they don't even understand they're fighting against their own spiritual system, and they've been brainwashed to turn against their own people, against their own culture, against their own way of life. We don't recognize this, and neither did I. Until one day, I researched on my own. I didn't listen to what a leader in the church was telling me. I sought out things on my own. And this is how I evolved. I evolved by researching and searching things for myself. Know thyself, but not only know yourself, know for yourself. And so once I found these things out myself, I'm the type of person, I don't run away from facts. I don't care how convicting it is. I don't care if I'm in the wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm just wrong. That's just the bottom line. And I had to face the realization that my culture had been stripped away from me. These last names that we have, William and Smith and Jones, okay, I guarantee you linguistically, if you research those names, you will come to find that those names are not African descent. Those names did not come from an African. We have proof so vividly clear ever before us, but a lot of us who've been brainwashed refuse to accept the fact that our ancestors were murdered. Okay? Our land was taken from us, just like what happened in Rosewood, just like what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, just like what happened in Africa, okay, where they came into our villages and they killed our people and they put their religion, all right, at the forefront and told us to renounce ours and told us to renounce our language and told us to renounce the ways of our ancestors. That's exactly what happened. There's no way around this. Family, I'm not saying to hate anybody. What I'm telling you is we have to face the facts and deal with the facts that we don't know who we are. We have to face the reality that the reason why a lot of us follow after this religion is because we were raised that way. And it stems from, no matter what nobody says, it's a historical fact. Okay, just the language that we're speaking is a fact. You got people in Burkina Faso in Africa that speak French. You got Haitians who their origin stems from Africa. And they speak French. They're African people. It's a historical fact. Toussaint Louverture, even his family, comes straight from Africa. The people over in Jamaica, their ancestors are the Maroons. They come from Africa. It is a historical fact. Queen Nanny, her ancestors come from Ghana. They're actually Asante people and Yoruba people over in Jamaica. Their bloodline goes back to Africa, to Kush, today known as Ethiopia. It is a historical fact. Our people in Panama, our people in Brazil, all of them come from Africa. Okay? You have Hispanic people practicing Ifa. That is a Yoruba spiritual system that comes straight from Africa. And this is what we must understand. A lot of us, we fight each other. A lot of us don't understand that we're killing our own family. We've been poisoned because of drugs, because of alcoholism, okay? We've been poisoned through gangster rap. Our people are literally been poisoned. We have a virus. We have an illness. And our social ills stem from us being out of our mind. Because the way of our culture is actually love. Okay? You must understand that voodoo and Ifa were oral traditions. This is the reason why you can't find a lot of books on these things. Teachers today have written books so that more of the information can get into the hands of those who are of African descent. This is the reason why our Babaluas and our shamans started writing books. It's so that it can be disseminated globally and it can reach the hands and then in turn go from the hands as they study then into the mind of the African. So we can refamiliarize ourselves with who we are, because the aftermath of us being out of our mind is death. It's immorality. Our women on strip poles, our women doing twerking, okay? Our men getting drunk in videos, getting high in videos, okay? Disrespecting our women, treating them like trash, treating them like sex toys. This is the reason why our men abandon their responsibilities. This is the reason why we have single parent homes. It's because we have abandoned the ways of our ancestors. Throughout this nation and on a global scale, we are literally family who do not know each other. We are actually family. When you walk down the street and you see your neighbor, that's actually family you don't even know. Because of slavery, it separated us. We were sent on various plantations, and a lot of us have lost contact. And understand, this is not a great falling away that we see that's happening right now in this modern day time. It is not a great falling away. Listen, in the sense of a religious mindset. This is actually the great awakening for the African. And what we're falling away from is the brainwashed European systems that has incarcerated us for centuries. This is what you're seeing that's happening. But those who have been brainwashed with these European religions, they say that we're falling away from a righteous way, that we're falling away and we're on the wrong path. No, we're not on the wrong path. How can you be on the wrong path? By reconnecting with your culture. A culture that we were once connected to prior to us being colonized. Do you know now, even over in African countries, they're starting to turn away? Okay, even over in Ghana, they're turning away help. They're turning away the clothes that are Eurocentric. Do you know now, or do you know in Libya? Do you know in Libya? Listen, in Liberia, do you know in their constitution it is written in for them not to allow anybody to buy any land that is not African, that is not Liberian? Because they understand when they allow another culture to come in, they allow them to infiltrate and to take over their culture and their way of life, which cuts them off from who they are and causes us to become extinct. What we're seeing is we're seeing the living dead. My beloved elder, my beloved brother and sister, my young people, what we're seeing is the living dead. We are actually not alive. We are actually dead. Death means to be separated from the life, from your soul, from the life. So we're dead because we've been severed from our spirituality. We've been severed from our culture. We are spiritually malnutritioned. We are spiritually unhealthy. We lack the spiritual substance that actually we need. And our spiritual substance is contained in our spiritual system. Religion gives you a false sense. It gives you a false sense. Religion makes you delusional. Religion is an illusion. We think it's helping us, but it's not helping us. You know the reason why it's not helping us? Because it tells us to demonize our own spiritual systems that actually helped us. Go to I encourage any of you, go on YouTube, go look it up for yourself. Go look up the Jarawa tribe, Jarawa, Jarawa, Jarawa. Go look them up. They have been isolated from modern day civilization. Okay? I encourage you to go look up the Himba people. Go look up the Himba. Himba. Go look up the Himba people. Go look them up. And look and see what our culture looks like without it being colonized. And you will see a totally different way of life. You will not see them with a Bible. You will not see them with a Quran. You will only see them practicing the ancient ways of our ancestors. You will see family orientation. You will see them eating together. You will see them dancing together. You will see them cooking together. You will see them hunting together. You will see unity like you've never seen it before. You won't see them killing each other. You won't see them robbing each other. You won't see them stealing from each other. You won't see drugs. You won't see alcoholism. You won't see any vaccinations. you will only see ancient medicine and ancient spiritual practices that keeps them connected to the universe, as we were prior to us being colonized. We need to be nursed back to health spiritually. We are sick. We are weakened. The reason why our men are weak the way they are because they have been emasculated. They have been emasculated by a Eurocentric mindset. Our men has been emasculated by corrupt influence. They've been emasculated by gang violence. They've been emasculated because they're getting high, because they're getting drunk. And they're drunk off of the intoxication of the poisonous venom that has been injected to all of us via television, radio, and social media. Anything that causes us to degrade our women, anything that causes a man to end up incarcerated spiritually and physically is something that we should be rejecting and that we should be banning from our communities. We are intoxicated by the corruption of another culture. We have been intoxicated by these things that they air on television, on radio, and on social media. The very same things that our men is being incarcerated from is the very same things that they are allowing to be played on television, on radio, and on social media. The very thing that is corrupting our young women is the very thing that's being allowed to be played on television, on radio, and on social media. There is a frequency that's being sent out, beloved. And this negative frequency that has been sent out by these toxic transmissions have been injected into the mind of the African and has corrupted us and has caused us to commit cultural suicide. Every time we allow these things to be played into our ears, every time we watch these things like Housewives, every time we allow our daughters to follow after people like Nicki Minaj, okay, a bisexual woman, okay, every time we allow our young people to listen to these things, every time us as adults, we keep listening and watching, okay, and reading this foolishness, things that we put into our spirit, it is causing us to commit suicide. Their way is not good for us. Another culture way is not good for us. We must pay attention to what's going on around us, and you will come to find that what I'm saying is the truth. We have been taught into the mind to think that our way of life is not good for us, and it is the total opposite. They're playing reverse psychology on us. They're telling us not to honor our ancestors, but they have Memorial Day where they honor their ancestors. They're telling us not to honor our ancestors, but they have within Catholicism, and people have heard me say this before, it's just to prove to you what I'm saying is facts, that they have saints, which are their ancestors, that they communicate with, that they call upon, but yet it's not good enough for the African. It's not good enough for us, but they get ancestral worship from us. The priesthood is a spin-off, and it is a bootleg version of Kemetic science. A lot of us, we don't pay attention to this. We don't pay attention that we honor people who have lost their life, soldiers who gave their life, okay? We don't pay attention to that. But yet, it's a problem if we honor our ancestors who literally laid down their lives for us. When we pour libations, we're honoring our ancestors. So when I take the cup of water or wine, okay? When I take that cup of water and wine and I pour it and I say, I give thanks unto the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King for laying down your life for us. Ashe. When I say, thank you, Winnie Mandela, for the wisdom and for you laying down your life for us, and I pour the water and I pour the wine, I am simply honoring our ancestors, and so that they will forever be in our memories because of what they have done for us. Family, Steve Harvey, Michael J. White, I believe his name is Boris Kodjoe. And if you would, please help me. I can't remember the actor name. I think it's Kodjoe. Bojo, I always mess his name up. You know, so brother, if you even hear this, please forgive me. But even himself, okay, went over to Africa. Jay Morrison. Okay, Diggy, the son of Run from Run DMC. He even reconnected with his roots. What we're seeing is a great awakening. The brother who's the actor from the Black Panther, the lead actor, he did his African ancestry DNA. He retraced his roots, and now even the mainstream artists, even Nas did his to trace his DNA. Jay-Z, he himself, people don't know. You know, him and his queen, they practice Ifa. They follow after Ifa. And once they woke up spiritually, then they returned back to the community, and now they're sharing their videos, they're sharing pictures on Instagram, and now they're telling people reconnect with who you are. This is not us losing our mind. This is us actually finding our mind. We've been out of our mind for centuries. It's actually us finding our mind. We're finding ourselves. We're coming into the knowledge of ourselves. The African way is the only way for the African. Africa for the African, and Europe for the European. African spirituality for the African, European spirituality for the European. African spirituality for the African, and let the European have their spirituality. Let the Asian have their spirituality. Let the European have their Greek gods. Let the Asian have their gods. But the only way the African is going to find their right mind is only in African culture. We will never find ourselves practicing another culture's way of life. And this is why the African in America, not an African American, this is the reason why the African in America is so lost. This is the reason why we're destroying ourselves. Because we're out of our minds. We don't recognize we're family. We're family with European names. Williams and Jones and Johnson. We claim, and this is sad, and I'm not beating nobody up. I'm just saying this is what makes my heart sad. Is that we at family reunions, we will walk around with those t-shirts on and we embrace the colonized name more so than we will embrace our own African culture. But we don't want to deal with the reason why we do this. Why do we do that? Why do we reject our own spiritual system? It's because we've been brainwashed via colonization to demonize our own system and to reject it and think that it's not good for us. It is the healthiest thing that we can do. Receiving somebody else's culture is like choosing GMO food over organic. This is what that is like. That's like choosing culture that's not ours. It's like genetically modified organisms. That is not from Mother Earth. That is not what Olodumare, that is not what the Creator has created. That's why it's not good for us. So these systems that are outside of our cultural systems, are like receiving GMOs into our bodies and intoxicates us. It's toxic to the African spirit. It's toxic to the African mind. This is the reason why the EFF over in Africa, go look them up. Look up the acronym EFF. This is the reason why they kicked the Europeans out and they took back their land. They're kicking them out. The EFF is kicking them out over in Africa. They're telling them, get out of here. Take your culture. Take your colonized ways and get out of our land. We have to do the same thing with their minds. When they try to teach us these things and they put before our children George Washington, slave owner. Abraham Lincoln did nothing for us. In the Constitution, there's a stipulation. And they use that stipulation to this day about using somebody who's a criminal for slavery. And this is the reason why our men are enslaved and jailed, okay? And they're illegally searched. You understand? That American flag is not our flag. We are prisoners of war. Our ancestors lost their life to preserve our culture. And it saddens my heart when you got a Christian who started demonizing us. It's sad. I feel sad. I feel sorry for my brothers and sisters and elders who really call themselves rebuking somebody. I feel sorry for them. They really think that we're lost, but we're not lost. They're lost. That's not your spiritual system. That was forced on you by your oppressor. That was forced on us by the one who enslaved us after the war. We are prisoners of war in this country. And then our own people are prisoners in their own country, made to learn English, made to learn French, made to learn these other cultures, made to learn their history. The history that we're learning is not our history. Shaka Zulu is our history. Toussaint Louverture is our history. Queen Nana is our history. Ya Asantewaa is our history. Imhotep is our history. Marcus Garvey is our history. Booker T. Washington is our history. Benjamin Banneker is our history. That's our history. But this Revolutionary War, this French Revolution, the blue coats and the red coats, that has nothing to do with the African. We are learning somebody else's history, and this is the reason why we are lost. And this is the reason why when we start talking the way we talking, that's not the mind of an African talking. That's the mind of a European talking. An African in his or her right mind would never demonize their history. They would never call their culture wicked. Alafia, son. I love you. Thank you for tuning in, son. So this is what we must do. We have to get the right spiritual vitamins in our spirit. We have to get the vitamin E in our spirit. The vitamin E is enlightenment. We got to get the vitamin K in our spirit because, see, we're malnutrition. We got to get knowledge. That's what we have to do. It's time for us to be restored. It's time for us to be put back in our right minds. I thank everybody so much for tuning in on today for this mastermind session number 9. We're out of our minds. For my Queen Amani Mari and I, we thank everybody that tuned in today. Adupe, son. Adupe. Adupe means thank you, son, in our tongue. Yoruba tongue is Adupe. Queen Mother said people have to make a conscientious effort to find out who they are. Agree. My Queen Amani Mar says, before Christianity, there was no gender of the Creator. I want to take out this time for any questions at this moment because the teaching session is done. I like to focus on the teaching and then get to it because I have to get out what the universe has placed in my spirit. King Vincent Briggs says, very good. All praises, my brother. All praises. My queen says Voodoo, Dogon, and Connecticutism has much in common. True. My good brother, King Patrick Alexander Trail Anderson, thank you, brother, so much for tuning in. Appreciate you, Negas. And if those of you who don't understand what I just said, I didn't say Negas like I got an accent. No, Negas is Cushite for king. Okay, Negas, Negus, Negas. So if we're going to call each other anything, it need to be Negas in that tongue, not nigger. Okay, not nigger. Okay, it's not Nigerian for Niger either. No, it's not. It's a derogatory term. We was brought over here by the Spaniards. and they spoke Spanish. The word in Spanish for black is negro. This is the reason why we got the word on us, the word Negro, because the Spaniards brought us over here on slave ships. And because the European cannot pronounce certain words, like they say Seminoles instead of Shimale, okay? Or they say Ashanti when it's really Asante. This is how we come up with these different names. And so they're the ones who called us these things. So let's check the record and set the record straight. Negas is what we call each other. Not nigger, not nigga, negas. Negus. Cushite for king. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you share this information. Remember, it's not about fame. It's about transformation of our mind. Okay, and for those who don't know, also my name is Cushite. Okay, it's an African name. All right, my first name, Amar, means handsome. At least my wife thinks so. My last name, Amari, is Cushite. It means strength builder. Okay, so the handsome strength builder. Watch it, boy. And I had to pop my collar. I had to pop my collar on that one. I had to pop my collar, you understand? You know, the handsome strength builder. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, we got to stand by our names, live by the names. That's why we got to make sure we teach our children about their language and about their culture. Make sure you take out the time to learn your language, okay? That's important too, because see, with our names, your name is supposed to identify who you are. So we didn't just call our children certain things. Okay, that's the reason why your name, you're supposed to live up to your name. That's why we have to be careful about the names that we choose for our children. Okay, and for those who can, find out an African name if you're getting ready to have a child or children. Okay, and if you and your queen are in agreement with it, name them something African. Don't name them anything that's going to continue that European, branding. All right, and ownership. Cut it off. Cut it off. Peace, love, and power. Have a blessed day.